and so very easily followed. It's very easy to be able to reference back and forth because of book, chapter, verse on that. It's very easy to help you to memorize because of these things. So that is what actually led to the process of translating the Receptus of Erasmus into what we now know as the Authorized Version, the King James Bible. You know, and again, while one of James' purposes, again, was to ensure that there was a good, clear, concise, accurate English language Bible available to the common man, part of his motivation behind it was purely political because, he didn't want to have to deal with what he had been dealing with in Scotland with the Presbyterians and what had been the church had been dealing with, the Anglican Church had been dealing with the extreme Puritans, who wanted to take things to such extremes, like I said, we could come to looking at the church here in this country, we're going to see what we're talking about in that with their, but that's why the Pilgrims came here, because they weren't being tolerated in the church in England with their extremism in some certain areas of things. Like I say, they wanted to establish a state church. They wanted the Anglican Church to be what they were. And where this comes from is you're going to have an English Civil War happen not long after James. Charles I is the one. He's Catholic. He wants to take England back to that. And you're going to have a civil war that's fought over that. And it's a while before the monarchy gets to come back. But it's in that period is when the Puritans end up coming here, and when they come here and they set up Plymouth Colony, they want to set up a theocracy that runs, and they want it to be all based upon their Puritan doctrine. And if you ain't a Puritan, you're gonna face some hard times. I mean, if you were a Baptist, and you got caught, preaching or teaching, you could find yourself, everything from being fined to being tarred, feathered, whipped, put in the stocks. A lot of that went on. Well, we're going to stop there with that for this morning. And like I say, next week, Lord willing, what I want to do is I just want to touch a little bit on the men that God used in that process to produce what we have today, because again, the arguments that are put out there against the Authorized Version as being God's perfectly preserved words, come from people who, number one, are nowhere near educated in depth with the languages as were the men that were used in this. Their prejudices against it are definitely satanically motivated, because it's never we're bringing out a new Bible to make clear, this version, and this. It's always, it's always against the Authorized Version. That archaic, can't be understood, which is baloney, and we know that's baloney. Any questions? shut this off.
So the chap just came in and did